Consider this. In the Olympics, the starting guards for Team USA have only scored 4 points. Indeed, 4 points. Chelsea Gray and Diana Taurasi are both 0 for 7 from three-point range and 2 for 12 from the field. Fans of Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, are going crazy. They claim Clark was passed over, but look what's happened since then. Is this the most humiliating Olympic debut ever? Now that we have these startling statistics broken down, let's get crazy like a buzzer beater in overtime. Two of the greatest guards in WNBA history, Diana Taurasi and Chelsea Gray, combined for a pitiful 4 points during the Olympics. Folks, that is not a typo. 4 total points. These guards were superstars, but they only made 2 of 12 field goals. Players of their caliber just don't miss that many free throws. It's like missing 10 out of 12. Wait, things get worse. They made 0 of 7 three-pointers. None. Nothing at all. They appeared to be playing while blindfolded. Consider yourself watching this game right now. Sitting there, you're waiting for Taurasi and Gray to light it up, but all you get is left and right clanking shot. Observing it hurts. Normally, these are the players who make defenses look silly, but they were unable to purchase a bucket during this game. This is where things get really interesting, though. Back home, Caitlin Clark was completely dominating the WNBA while Taurasi and Gray were having difficulty on the international scene. This young talent is playing like she's been in the league for a long time. Clark has been giving away change like a crazy vending machine. She sees passing lanes that haven't even been created yet thanks to her extraordinary court vision. In terms of scoring, what about it? Clark has been putting up stats that even seasoned pros find impressive. Still, her influence on the game extends beyond the numbers. Everything changes in the energy when Clark is on the court. Defenders are always on high alert because they never know when she might pull up for a deep three or make a stealthy pass. She possesses the uncommon talent of improving everyone in her vicinity. Do you know what's truly bizarre? Clark is a novice at all of this. It usually takes a season or two for players to get used to the pro game, but Clark came in and immediately made herself feel at home. She possesses the killer instinct that sets exceptional players apart from others in addition to her skill and fearlessness. I understand your thoughts at this point. Why are we talking about Clark when she's not even in the Olympics? Indeed, that is precisely what the fans want, and they aren't keeping quiet about it. People are talking about the contrast between the struggling Olympians and Clark's outstanding play. And by talking, I mean yelling at the top of my lungs. What could be more absurd than these statistics? The opinions of their followers regarding them. The people who are supporting Clark are furious and they're not holding back. Everything is being questioned, including whether certain players are past their prime and how the teams are chosen. A fan went so far as to say, "You tell me how Caitlin Clark couldn't make this team when the starting guards for Team USA have 4 total points in the Olympics." Hurt. Comments like that spark Twitter feuds and never-ending debate shows, but let's step back and examine the wider picture before delving into the fan responses. Is Taurasi and Gray having a bad game? Is it an indication of something greater? Is there a shift in power occurring in women's basketball? These are the prevailing questions, and providing answers is not simple. On the one hand, you have successful individuals who have won WNBA titles and Olympic gold medals. Conversely, you have a youthful phenomenon that is shattering records and grabbing the attention of fans worldwide, but it's not all about the numbers. It has to do with the sport's future. It concerns the person who will represent Team USA internationally. It concerns the overall direction of women's basketball, and for good reason. Fans are enthused about this. With no holds barred, one fan referred to it as the most horrid start in the history of all bad starts to Olympic performances. Hurt. Though it's harsh, can you really blame them? It is frustrating to witness two of the greatest guards in WNBA history put up stats that would not impress a high school coach. How do you get worse than bad? Was a question posed by a fan who went even farther. It appears as though they are viewing a different sport. These are players who usually light up the scoreboard, but if they fell off a boat in the Olympics, they couldn't hit the water. This is where things get really interesting, though. Not all of the fans are only upset about the performance. Conspiracy theories are being developed by them more quickly than a microwave popcorn bag. Caitlin Clark isn't on the team, according to them, because she doesn't belong to the right club. Even so, what does that mean? These supporters believe that joining Team USA requires a secret handshake or other ritual. It's all about who you know, they say, not about your skill level. It's as if they believe women's basketball has a VIP area, and Clark was not invited. One fan stated unequivocally that they do not want Clark to compete for that group at the Olympics. The current team seems to be being treated as though they are radioactive or something. They want Clark to play with more youthful players to add intrigue and competition to the squad. Know what's absurd? These supporters are referring to Clark as though she were a basketball superhero. They act as though she could save Team USA by herself, her cape trailing behind her. They are behaving as though she possesses magical abilities, but for a moment, let's be honest, Clark is a good man. Excellent. She's still learning though. She is being held in such high regard by these fans that you would need a telescope to see the top. She's being treated as though she's the second coming of Jesus or something. Clark's goodness isn't the only factor though. There is an unmatched emotional bond between her and these admirers. They have as much stake in her success as if it were their own. It's like a perfect storm of emotions when they watch her light up the WNBA while TAURASI and Gray struggle in the Olympics. You have a lot of what-if scenarios, excitement about the new kid on the block, and frustration with the established stars. These fans are consuming it as if it were the final season of their beloved show. It's similar to a soap opera about basketball. Here's the thing though. This drama and these heated exchanges aren't occurring in a vacuum. There's more at stake here than one poor performance or one breakout star. It has to do with women's basketball's future. It has to do with who speaks for the United States abroad. It has to do with change, which is often unsettling. To these fans, Clark represents the future. They're prepared for a change of leadership, but it takes time for things to change. It's not as though you can merely snap your fingers and obtain an entirely new squad. Considerations include chemistry, experience, and history. Therefore, even though these supporters are yelling for Clark to join the team, it's important to look at the wider picture. Is TAURASI and Gray's situation merely a blip, or does it indicate that fresh leadership is needed? Are the fans exaggerating, or are they right to be so enraged? These are the prevailing questions, and providing answers is not simple. It goes beyond statistics on a stat sheet. It has to do with the way the sport is going. It's about striking a balance between enthusiasm for the newcomers and reverence for the veterans. It's disorganized, intricate, and utterly fascinating. What's wild, you know? Since 2016, the Fever have missed out on the playoffs. Being on the sidelines for that long is quite a commitment. But Clark? That is not going to happen to her. She is not afraid to aim high in her quest to turn the Fever's fortunes around. Clark simply stated, "I feel good, obviously we're in playoff contention. That's our goal. These last 15 games are going to be really important for us." That isn't idle talk. That's a novice assuming responsibility and declaring, "Our goal isn't to inflate the statistics. Our goal is to triumph." Consider yourself a fan of Fever now. You've experienced some difficult times. You've seen year after year of your team's struggles. After that, this rookie enters the game, lights up the scoreboard, and talks about the playoffs as if they were inevitable. That must excite you, don't you think? However, it goes beyond what Clark says. It's the way she performs. It seems like this girl is playing in slow motion while there are more experienced players. Her needlework weaves through imaginary spaces. She's making three-pointers from areas of the court where most players wouldn't even consider taking a shot. Crucially, Clark is handling all of this with the composure of an experienced professional. The pressure isn't settling on her. She's not letting her emotions cloud her judgment. She's just having a ball game after game as if it's nothing at all. Who does she remind me of, you know? Those quarterbacks in the NFL who can arrive and instantly transform a team. The ones who, despite their inexperience, inspire everyone in the huddle to think they can win it all. Clark feels the same way. She's altering the game, not just playing. This is where things get really interesting, though. Clark isn't participating in the Olympics, but she's killing it in the WNBA. Furthermore, what do you know? In actuality, that could be advantageous. Consider it. Clark with the Fever is the star of the show rather than a backup on Team USA, maybe getting a few minutes here and there. She is receiving more playing time, experience, and opportunities to improve her skills. She is gaining experience in team leadership and managing the demands of being the go-to player. And let's be honest, given her current playing style, Clark will undoubtedly have many opportunities to play for Team USA in the future. She's not missing out on anything. Rather, she's preparing for even greater things in the future. And the real question is, though, will Caitlin Clark benefit from missing the Olympics? The response may surprise you. Considered by some fans as a blessing in disguise, Clark would be better off concentrating on her WNBA career at this time, they say. They believe that this experience will make her an even more valuable player for Team USA in the future. Furthermore, what do you know? They could be in error. Clark is being given the opportunity to take center stage and lead a team. That's the kind of Olympic experience that can only be had by competing on the bench, but playing time isn't the only factor. It's all about development. It has to do with leadership. The goal is for Clark to develop into the kind of player who can alter the course of play each time she takes the court, and she's using the Fever precisely for that purpose. She's leading, not just playing. She possesses the uncommon talent of improving everyone in her vicinity. The entire team plays with more swagger and confidence when Clark is on the court. Know what's absurd? For some fans, Clark's exclusion from the Olympics is a blessing. They contend that it would be preferable for her to dominate in the WNBA than to start for Team USA as a reserve. Even so, one fan expressed gratitude that she wasn't on the team. Did you really want her to play with such bigots? Hurt. These supporters believe Clark will dominate the league. MVP, triple-doubles, the whole 9 yards, all of it is being discussed. A fan commented, "Caitlin Clark is going to be a top 3 MVP candidate. It wouldn't shock me if she's got another couple of triple-doubles in her." That is a lot of hype. Now for the question of the century. Is Caitlin Clark going to be Team USA's future captain, or would she be better off going it alone? How do you feel? Will she be altering the records or what?